electoral, o al menos esta pre-campaña que ya se está dibujando en los Estados Unidos de América, y el foco en esos datos económicos que hoy han marcado el pulso de los mercados. Los vamos a analizar. J. Pelosky, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How do you see currently the economic situation in USA?
Very, very good. We have solid growth. The ISM manufacturing data just came out today. It's the first time over 50 in 17 months, so the first time in expansion. It actually started declining back almost 2 years ago. And we had new orders also up over 50. And so that's been the part of the economy that's been lagging, the manufacturing sector. And now it's finally broken into expansion range, which I think supports the action we've seen in the stock market, where cyclical sectors are significantly outperforming defensive sectors, and in the commodity markets, where we see not just energy breaking out, not just gold breaking out, but also copper breaking out, as well as agricultural commodities. And so in our view, we want to listen to the markets or listen to stocks and not public opinion. And stocks and credit and commodities are all suggesting not just a U.S. expansion, but a early cycle global expansion, which was one of our 4 for 24 macro surprises we wrote about now 5 months ago.
And then, how is your opinion about Asia, about China?
Well, China too just had PMIs reported over the weekend, and they too were better than expected and above 50 and in expansion. So that's also, you know, constructive. And it seems to us that China is, again, bottoming as an economy. JP Morgan just raised its Q1 GDP forecast for China to 6.6% annualized, up from 5%. So clearly there's a sense that the Chinese economy is starting to pick up, and that just reinforces and kind of dovetails with what we see in the commodity space. And you have a situation where you have kind of supply constrained commodities, whether it's oil because of what's going on in the Middle East, or Russia, you know, pulling back production, or whether it's copper, where you've had several mine closures. Supply constraints, together with now the first inklings of a demand pickup. And that's why you see things like copper miners are up almost 20% in the last month here in the US.
Would the rest of Asia be concerned about China economy?
I don't think so. China, as I said, is growing at 6% per annum. It's the second biggest economy in the world. That's a good thing for the rest of Asia, because China is kind of the sun around which the rest of Asia, or certainly ASEAN, the Southeast Asian nations, really rotate. And so you're seeing a significant increase in Chinese exports to ASEAN, and you're seeing a pickup in Chinese manufacturing production moving, particularly the low, you know, the labor-intensive, low-margin production moving to Southeast Asia, which is allowing Southeast Asia to start to develop a manufacturing economy, which feeds not just Europe and the U.S., but increasingly China, with, again, 1.4 billion people growing at 6% per annum. That's a very, very attractive market.
What do you think is going to happen at the gold market?
The gold in gold?
Gold market, yes.
Yeah, they're constructive and have been in a good size position in GLD, which is the U.S. listed ETF for gold. And gold is breaking out. I mean, if you look at a chart, very clearly breaking out and breaking out strongly. And I think in part because of the sense that central banks are beginning to cut interest rates. we expect, for example, the most synchronized rate cutting cycle that we've seen since 2008 to unfold this year. And you saw it with the Swiss National Bank cutting rates last week, the first of the G10 central banks to cut rates. We anticipate the ECB to follow. We anticipate the Fed to follow. So again, you have that supporting gold, because gold doesn't yield any interest. So when rates come down, gold is more attractive. And you also have the reality that the main buyers of gold are central banks. And they're buying gold because all that's gone on with the trade and worries about US and China relations, Russia, asset confiscation, etc. Central banks are deciding they want to have gold as a bigger part of their reserves. And so that is a big buyer that historically has not been very important in the gold market, but today is the leading buyer of gold is central banks, and that's obviously supports the price and supports the breakout.
Thank you so much, Jay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Bueno, y sobre la mesa estas conclusiones que nos dejaba Pelosky hace unos instantes, que nos decía que ese oro se va a mantener fuerte, que va a romper más techos de los que ya ha roto y sobre todo ha auspiciado por un lado y con un denominador común por las compras de oro, por el otro, por las expectativas que existen en torno a los bancos centrales y su política monetaria, que son los que adquieren a un ritmo más elevado este metal dorado para protegerse también en contra de la inflación y sostener a sus divisas ahora mismo que estamos en esa guerra en la que el dólar trata de vencer al resto en el mundo. De hecho, China, el mayor comprador, el mayor banco central que adquiere oro a un ritmo más elevado, al menos que el resto del planeta en estos momentos, con el foco puesto en esa economía estadounidense que de momento nos decía, con los datos del ISM sobre la mesa, no podemos decir que vaya mal, pero tampoco bien. El crecimiento sigue siendo débil y una China que sigue preocupando a pesar de que no debería ser un foco de riesgo para el resto del continente asiático, sobre todo por las exportaciones y la balanza comercial que existe por parte del ejecutivo de Xi Jinping, que sostiene al resto de países. Estamos hablando de Vietnam, Indonesia o la región de Asia-Pacífico. De momento, parte de las conclusiones que escriben la jornada a esta hora de la tarde, 30 minutos, algo más, sobre las 8 en punto. Pausamos unos instantes, publicidad, y enseguida analizamos la situación política en Europa y qué está pasando con Tesla aquí en Negocios.